almost 7 times higher. Another report from 2014 estimates between the years of 1982 and 2012, there were approximately 1,200 murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. The issue of violence against Indigenous women in Canada is endemic of a bigger problem that reflects on the ongoing colonialism in this country.
In 2014, Tina Fontaine, a 15-year-old Indigenous girl, is found in Winnipeg's Red River. Her body is wrapped in plastic and discarded near the notorious Alexander Docks. Her murder remains unsolved.
Her death is tragic, but it did spark a conversation that was long overdue.
Following the death of Tina Fontaine, a January 2015 issue of a Canadian national magazine called out Winnipeg as the most racist city in Canada for the daily injustices and indignities suffered by the Indigenous peoples. On August 3rd, 2016, a mere 2 weeks before Christine Wood goes missing, the federal government of Canada finally launches an inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
It was an initiative by the Canadian government to impact that disproportionate level of violence that was being experienced by Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people.
The inquiry is much needed for a country that is looking towards reconciliation and to deal with its history of colonization.
You know, the inquiry is really important, but you think about what was happening in 2016, and really it was of little assistance to Christine's parents, who were searching frantically for their daughter and hoping, I can just imagine how worried they were that she was going to become one of those statistics. It would be heartbreaking. I'm sure that the detectives from the Missing Persons Unit who were working on this case were doing everything they could to solve it. And the timing of the inquiry just added to the pressure for them to find Christine, hopefully alive.
As detectives begin their search for Christine, a key component of their investigation is her online presence.
In looking at Christine's online footprint, it's clear that she's very active on social media. But as of August 19, the day she goes missing, there isn't a single post from her. Detectives need to explore the possibility that Christine has left and doesn't want to be found. But there's no activity from her bank account and no witnesses who have seen someone matching her description. The lack of her online activity is cause for alarm.
It would be quite easy to let it lie and say, well, she just doesn't want to be found. But there's no evidence of that. That's not like this girl. She's a young girl. She's been on social media lots. She's been on Facebook quite a lot and communicating with different people, different things, commenting on whatever it is. And now there's dead silence.
As time passes, the likelihood of finding Christine alive diminishes. Detectives in the Missing Persons Unit fear the worst, though they continue to work the case. The police track down Christine's friends and acquaintances.
Detectives learned that Christine didn't have a data plan on her phone, so she didn't communicate through texts. Instead, when she could connect to Wi-Fi, she used Facebook to send messages. According to her friends, this was her primary means of communication.
Detectives don't have any kind of picture of the hours leading up to Christine's disappearance. The last time she's seen is by her parents before they leave the hotel. Following that is a huge gap.
But in this day and age, everyone with a cell phone and online presence leaves behind digital fingerprints. They can help paint a picture of where someone was and who they were last with. If Christine was as active online as her friends say, then the best hope the detectives have of painting a picture of her last day is online.
But acquiring records and creating someone's digital fingerprint is easier said than done.
At this time, Facebook doesn't have any Canadian offices, so the only way to acquire these records is to contact U.S. law enforcement.
Eventually, the Missing Persons Unit is able to get a record of Christine's social media use, but it's a lot of data to comb through, necessary work if they hope to understand her final days before her disappearance.
A key piece of information that comes from accessing Christine's social media accounts allows detectives to see the last Wi-Fi network she used to log on to Facebook. And that network leads them to an address in Winnipeg's North End.
Missing persons find out that the last time she used her social media was August 20th at Burroughs, and it was used on a HTC phone, not her own phone. It was used on a HTC device. This is something that's become very relevant as the investigation goes on.
Detectives are hopeful that whoever lives at this address has some information that will help them locate Christine.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on getting you the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. But don't worry, we've got a lot more than that going for us. Woo! Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example. It's the perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want with space-age metal housing, we got them. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we've got that too. We even have flip phones like the Iris Flip. If you're someone that doesn't need all that mumbo-jumbo and just wants something simple. And now, we even have watches.
We do.
No matter what device you choose, you'll be happy to know that if your data needs change,
No problem.
with our Smart Flex feature, you don't have to sweat it. Like say you're on a road trip out west and end up using a bunch of data. We can simply flex you up to the next data tier for as little as $5. Then, when you get home, you can flex right back down with no penalty. So you only pay for what you actually need.
With Consumer Cellular, you get the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost.
I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet? Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Will our award-winning customer service help me switch over or add a line for $15 to make my own family plan?
Of course they will.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
See that tower out there? It's a beauty. And there are thousands more like it, working hard for me and you, supplying 5G coverage to this beautiful nation of ours. We know how important coverage is. That's why we offer a risk-free guarantee. If you're not satisfied within 30 days of activation, you can pay nothing. Oh, look.
And for a limited time, new customers get their second month free. Call 800-311-5340. Find us in Target or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
She knows what she's talking about. Pick up the phone.
Get the thing off of me!
You still haven't broken up with bad bras and gone to honeylove.com? Take your current torture device of a bra. It in no way fits your body. And the underwire
Stabs me in the boobs constantly.
not anymore, thanks to Honeylove.
Wow. There's no spillage and no gap.
And there's no underwire. Don't take it from me. Look at all these 5-star reviews. Women everywhere are breaking up with bad bras.
At drivetime.com, we've been hard at work. And we finally did.
Did you make it so I can finally see my real payments and shop at thousands of cars with no hit to my credit?
Wait, yes! You can go to drivetime.com and get approved
With no credit hit! Shop for cars and customize your own payments with no credit hit.
Look, there's a slidey thingy. I'm changing my own payments. I feel strong!
Shop for cars with no credit hit.
Grandma, they did it! Drive Time finally did it!
Shop for cars online with no credit hit at drivetime.com.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
On the evening of August 19th, 2016, the Woods return to their hotel room to find their daughter Christine isn't there. After 2 days without word from her, they contact the missing persons unit at the Winnipeg Police. The search for Christine is extensive, but no one has seen or heard from her. She hasn't used social media since her disappearance. 4 months go by, but detectives are hopeful they found a lead when they obtain access to her social media accounts and discover she connected to Wi-Fi at a Winnipeg address on the night of her disappearance. Investigators get their first break in the case when they discover that the last time Christine used her Facebook account, she connected to the Wi-Fi network at a North End address using a phone that isn't hers.
They They interviewed the resident at Morrow's. His name is Brett Overby. Brett Overby has no history with the police. He's an ordinary person living in that address, goes about his daily business and goes to work.
Overby tells detectives that he doesn't know and has never met Christine, and he describes his place as having a kind of open-door policy.
He said that he often has people over in his place and anybody can use his Wi-Fi. He displays the Wi-Fi password. He said he'd often have bonfire in his backyard and people would come by and they could use his Wi-Fi, and could be any number of reasons why his Wi-Fi was used. Somewhat plausible.
When Overby is asked if he has an HTC phone or device, he replies no. As Brett Overby is not a suspect at this time, detectives release him. There's still another lead they need to explore.
As detectives continue their digital deep dive, they find the only phone connected to the Wi-Fi the night Christine goes missing is the HTC device she used to log on to Facebook. The theory that Christine was one of many to log on to the network that night, either at a house party or a bonfire, isn't tracking.
Detectives interview Brett Overby's ex-girlfriend. She and Overby are on good terms, and she doesn't believe he has anything to do with Christine's disappearance. But she does let one major detail slip.
She also said that she did know that he did at one time have a HTC phone. That's a big red flag. Brett Overby is lied to us. We do know that she used a HTC phone, and he's denied ever having a HTC phone.
Christine Wood has been missing for months, and the Missing Persons Unit finally has some evidence that there may be foul play. It's time for them to escalate the investigation.
It's taken months to get to this. March 2017 is when Missing Persons actually consulted us, and we decide that, and me as the homicide supervisor decide that it's time to get him more involved in this case, and let's look at it now as a homicide, and we've got somebody here who's lying to us. We decide that he is definitely now more than a witness. He's definitely a person of interest and heading closely towards being a suspect.
Detective O'Donovan and the homicide unit come to the conclusion that Overby is hiding something.
Christine's Facebook account is used for the last time at his address, on a device he denies having, but his ex-girlfriend says he still possesses. This is enough circumstantial evidence for detectives to justify investigating him further.
It's not a search warrant that we're applying for. It's a general warrant, and it's a very difficult warrant to get. Basically, it can only be issued by a judge, and it gives police the authority to go and look for evidence that may or may not be there, and it's almost at the point of being a fishing expedition.
At this point of the investigation, Brett Overby and the acquaintance of Christine's are likely the last two people that spoke to her the day she goes missing. Investigators are confident one or both of them knows something that they aren't telling the police.
Canada is a massive country with over 6 million square miles of land. In the past, if someone wanted to disappear, it would not be hard. But in this digital age, to leave behind zero trace is extremely difficult.
According to the RCMP's National Center for Missing Persons and Unidentified Remains, even though about 85% of cases are resolved within the first week, there are still approximately 500 cases left unresolved each year in Canada.
As time passes, the likelihood of ever finding Christine diminishes. Detectives are racing the clock before her trail runs cold. Late in March, Detective O'Donovan gets the green light to go ahead. His warrant is granted by a judge on March 22nd, roughly 7 months after Christine's disappearance.
We coordinate a search of that residence. We have enough to arrest Brett Overby at that point, but we certainly don't have anywhere near enough to charge him, but we can arrest him because he is a suspect. I organize for the forensic unit to be ready to go into his house, to do an absolute complete search of his house. By complete search, I mean we're going to search it from top to bottom. We're not just going to look for fingerprints. We're going to examine everything. We're going to look for blood stain. We're going to look for blood spatter. We're going to look for any technological evidence that may be there in his computers. We're actually going to do a complete, total search. If we have to, we're going to look behind drywall. We're going to look in the floor. We're going to look wherever we have to look.
Detective O'Donovan and the homicide unit are now deeply involved, which means the hopes of finding Christine alive have greatly diminished. What will they find when they enter the home in the west end of Winnipeg? On March 22nd, 2017, 2 days after the warrant is issued, Detective O'Donovan and his team are in position.
We decided that we're going to do this first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. We set up at Burroughs. At 7:27, Brett Overby leaves the house to go to work, and he's arrested outside his house. He's taken into custody. He's told that he may be charged with a murder or a similar offense, and he's brought into police headquarters, where he's now going to be questioned.
With Overby in custody, the forensics team enters the residence to begin their thorough search for any signs that a crime was committed here. Detective O'Donovan conducts his interview with Overby. Everything must be by the book, as Overby is a suspect in a potential murder case.
We can't bring him in and pretend that, oh no, he's not a suspect. We have to give him his rights. We have to tell him what his rights are. We have to tell him what his jeopardy is.
Brent Overby once again denies knowing or having anything to do with Christine Wood's disappearance. Detective O'Donovan then brings up the HDC phone that Christine used to log on to Facebook, using Overby's Wi-Fi. He gives him the opportunity to retract his former statement and explain why he lied.
So it's as much in his best interest if he's got something to explain to us and say, no, I lied about the phone because of this or whatever reason. And it makes him, okay, well, maybe he didn't. He's got nothing to do with this.
But Overby insists that he doesn't have an HTC phone. Either he's lying or his ex-girlfriend is. Detectives will need to keep digging if they hope to learn the truth.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the leading free-to-play mobile slots game that always gives you more. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
Litter Robot has now solved the litter box problem for over 1 million pet parents around the world. Hi, I'm Brad Baxter, founder of Whisker and Litter Robot. 25 years ago, I inherited 2 cats and an overflowing litter box. I have a background in engineering, so I was thinking of ways I could automate the litter box process. The result was Litter Robot, a fully automatic, self-cleaning litter box. You'll never scoop again, and your cat will always have a clean bed of litter. Join the Whisker family and try Litter Robot today.
Bras fit small-chested women like this.
Atrocious gapping. This.
Meet Pepper. No more cup gaps or awkward fits. Specially designed for AA to B cups. The bra reinvented for small boobs.
The dentist will be right in.
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Yeah, Doc, but there's so much to consider. Medicare, finances. Oh, and I lose my dental insurance.
You can get your own from Physicians Mutual.
Oh, right. My neighbors have Physicians Mutual.
Easiest decision ever. It's real dental insurance that's real affordable. Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. It helps cover over 400 procedures, everything from cleanings and fillings to crowns and dentures. See any dentist you want with no deductibles and no annual maximum. For all the details, call now or visit sendinfokit.com.
Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
Now getting dental insurance is one of the easiest retirement decisions you can make.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
I have bad bunions. Wish they'd disappear.
Sad. Future me.
And no buttons. How?
Lapiplasty corrects bunions at the source, meaning you're back in sneakers in weeks. Weeks! The future of bunion surgery is here. Learn more at lapiplasty.com. Risks include infection, pain, and loss of correction.
Calm. Download the free app now.
They're called Shynasty hammock underwear. Soft, sweat-wicking, breathable underwear with a supportive pouch built in. You'd think that underwear couldn't be reinvented. Then I found Shynasty hammock underwear, and I've not been able to wear another brand since. Shynasty hammock underwear will end your adjustments once and for all. You'll realize you need new underwear until you try these.
I'm on my feet all day. I'm up, I'm down. It's nice to have underwear that move with me and feel like they are there.
Love your first pair or they're free. Upgrade to hammock underwear at shynasty.com.
All right, time to do some selling. That's going towards rent. Oh yeah, that's going towards girls' night. And that's going towards a new bag.
Your closet is worth more than you realize. Download the Poshmark app and start cashing in today.
At Quince, we make inexpensive, expensive things. We know it sounds like a paradox, but we just flipped the way luxury is made. Like washable mulberry silk, unbelievably soft leather jackets, fine Mongolian cashmere, all at a fair price. Get free shipping and 365-day returns at quince.com.
The windows come down, the shoes go off, sleeves go up. The coast is there with open arms. Leave it all behind and settle in. Beat 'em along.
To prove that there is such a thing as free money, we give people a little sample of Ibotta.
Hi, would you like to try a sample? What is it? Ibotta.
If I can just take this. Is this real?
Yes, you're not allergic, right?
Get cash back every time you shop with Ibotta.
We're excited to do business with you, but before we sign, I gotta ask.
Sure, anything.
We searched you online, and maybe you can explain this?
Can't believe that garbage is still coming in. That is so false.
Frustrated with your online search results? Call Reputation Defender today to join tens of thousands who've improved their online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 1-877-866-8555.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
Investigators interview Brett Overby, who owns the home where Christine last connects to Wi-Fi, though he claims he's never met her. But when they interview his ex-girlfriend, they discover he lied about the cell phone Christine used to sign into social media. Fearful that they're dealing with a murder, the missing persons unit involves the homicide unit, and Detective O'Donovan gets a warrant to search Brett Overby's house. On March 22nd, 2017, the warrant is executed, and Overby is brought in for questioning, while forensics and investigators search his home for any signs of Christine Wood.
We're going to search it from top to bottom. We're actually going to do a complete, total search.
While Overby is being questioned, investigators conduct a search of his home.
They spend the entire morning upstairs searching everything. And this is a small house, but it's got quite a bit of clutter in it. They take fingerprints, they dust for fingerprints, they search for blood, they use all the equipment available to them. They use black lights and they use the luminol spray.
Luminol spray is a reagent specifically formulated for the detection of blood at a crime scene. Even if the blood is invisible to the human eye or someone has attempted to wash the area, under the black light, the spray will illuminate areas indicating blood.
But so far on the main floor, investigators find nothing to indicate a crime occurred here. Detectives have 24 hours in which they can hold Overby as a suspect without formally charging him with a crime. If he won't confess anything in the interview, And if investigators find no evidence in his home during this time, they'll have no choice but to release him. The clock is ticking.
And it's a very difficult interview because Brett Overby isn't answering any questions. He's basically telling us his name and his date of birth and his address, and he's not saying everything else is no comment. I'm also looking at his past phone records, and if there's people I want to speak to. Who are the two people he spoke to directly after the HTC phone was used? There's his friend, and there's his ex-girlfriend. His ex-girlfriend is also shocked, but she tells us a few different things, and she tells us that he asked her to lie about plenty of fish and who his friends are. He asked her to lie about the phone, and she wasn't going to lie for him.
Overby's ex-girlfriend has been told by him to lie about the popular dating app that he was using, which connects him to Christine. Overby also asks her to lie about who his friends are.
She had a good relationship with him still, even though they had split up. They texted every day.
But in spite of this, Overby's ex-girlfriend is forthcoming with detectives.
She also disclosed that during their relationship, which went on for several years, he had grown violent during that relationship, and she had been a victim of domestic abuse. And she said that that was the reason that they had split up. She said that his drinking had progressed over the years that they had been together. She described specifically a couple of instances of domestic violence. These were things that I couldn't ignore.
As detectives learn of Overby's history of violence, they become more convinced of his involvement in Christine's disappearance.
At this point, I was certain that he was involved in the disappearance of Christine Wood.
It's approximately 3 p.m., and Detective O'Donovan steps out of the interview to take a phone call from the forensics supervisor. The supervisor informs him that the reagent spray that they're using has reacted, indicating that there is blood in a sink in the basement.
To the naked eye, this place will look perfect. It will look clean. It will look as if nothing has been done there. When you put the ultraviolet light on the loose arm, it lights up like a blue Christmas tree. And this was the case of the sink. This, to me, is telling me, okay, we got the right guy here. We're in the right place.
Detective O'Donovan has just learned that the forensics team has detected blood in the basement sink at Overby's house. And not 20 minutes later, he gets another call from the team. They've discovered more blood spatter. From the small droplets of blood that remain, it's clear that someone has made the attempt to clean it up.
He's finding blood spatter. Where he's finding it is there's a weight bench in the basement, and he's finding some blood spatter on the legs of the weight bench that hadn't been cleaned up, and underneath. What it's doing is showing to him that somebody was lying on the floor and was being beaten.
Given where forensics is finding the blood, it is unlikely that Overby has cut himself and the blood is dripping downward.
The blood is under the bench, which means that it's been spattered from the floor upwards.
The major question now is whose blood is it?
At this time, forensics doesn't know whose blood it is. It may or may not be Christine's. But given his trajectory and where they're finding the blood, it's telling them the story that this is a result of a violent act.
To the naked eye, he did a fantastic job in cleaning up. To the forensic eye, he didn't do a good job. He was sloppy and left a lot of evidence there.
But the one piece of evidence that isn't there is the body. The circumstantial evidence against Brett Overby is piling up. He lied about the cell phone. He has a history of violence against women. And now there's been blood discovered in his basement. But even when confronted with all of this, he refuses to cooperate. Without hard evidence, investigators can't hold their suspect for more than 24 hours. There's little chance of getting a confession from the silent Overby. And while the blood found in the basement can be tested, it could take weeks or even months before the results come back. The investigation's best hope is to find some evidence that Christine was in the home.
better banking app is right at your fingertips. Download Dave, and you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No interest, credit checks, or late fees. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com today.
I was seeing this bra all over my Instagram feed. I'm sure you're seeing it too.
This is the most comfortable bra I've ever put on in my life. I love it because, one, it's not underwire. I hate underwire. It smooths out your back. It doesn't give you back fat or back rolls. You can wear this under a t-shirt and it wouldn't leave any marks or bulges. So not only is it super supportive, lifting and smoothing, but you have all that without an underwire and without a ton of padding.
If you're looking at this and it's available, I promise you won't regret it.
Try risk-free. Free returns on all orders.
As you get older, your liver health becomes an increasingly important part of the aging process. We created Dose for your liver to make taking care of your liver easy. Dose is an organic blend of liver-supporting ingredients and is clinically backed to promote healthy liver function so that nothing's holding you back.
I'm here today to talk to you about addiction. It's an incredibly complex and difficult subject, and there are many reasons people struggle with it. Some feel isolated, some feel trapped, some feel despair. Many people avoid talking about it to avoid dealing with it. But when you start talking, it becomes easier and the way out becomes clear. You can get help today by calling the number on your screen to start talking with someone who knows and understands your struggles, someone who's been where you are. So call now. No more excuses, no more dying. If you or someone you love is fighting with a drug or alcohol addiction, reach out and talk to someone you can trust, someone who found recovery. However it started, your addiction can end by making this free call.
Call 800-709-6547.
Meet Omnilux Contour, an LED light therapy mask clinically proven to reduce fine lines and wrinkles. Find out how you can improve your skin at omniluxled.com.
Introducing the Emergency Fire Blanket from Prepared Hero. The Emergency Fire Blanket is a lightweight, portable, easy-to-use tool to put out fires safely and effectively. There's less mess than there is with a fire extinguisher. It can withstand temperatures of over 1,000 degrees, and it can put out several different types of fires. Pull it out of the pouch and toss it on a fire. It's better to have it and not need it than it is to need it and not have it. Get your peace of mind today with the Emergency Fire Blanket by Prepared Hero.
We're giving away this 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath in the heart of the Ozark National Forest. You can win this cabin or $1 million cash.
Go to onecountry.com today. Sign up.
From the crime scene, it was just bizarre, to the investigation, everybody is a suspect. Uncover the mysteries and reveal the final hours before the crime. The Last 24, next on True Crime Network.
Ready to party? I'm talking about Jackpot Party, the #1 free-to-play mobile slots game in the world that always gives you more. Download Jackpot Party for free and get a 45 million coin bonus. Jackpot Party, a party in every spin.
Every day feels like a vacation in PAC's Coastal Collection. Made with 100% organic cotton, these looks are light, breathable, and always go with the flow. Because some things are made for everything, especially organic cotton. Shop the collection at wearpact.com.
This is not a dryer sheet. Earth Freeze is a new type of laundry detergent that looks like this. It's also so easy to use. Dissolves quickly in any wash. And my personal favorite, no plastic jug. Learn more at earthfreeze.com.
Looking for a way to stretch the dollar? With Insurify, you can cut your car insurance bill in half. Scroll through dozens of prices and tap to switch online. That's it. No phone calls and no wasted time. Go to Insurify and save today.
The forensics team carefully search Brett Overby's house for any signs that Christine was here. Meanwhile, detectives are getting nowhere with their tight-lipped suspect. But when forensics finds traces of blood and the cleanup of a crime scene in the basement, detectives know they're finally on the right track.
Winnipeg is a rich, black topsoil great for agriculture. But beneath that is an impervious soil or hard clay that is often found in older, unfinished basements. The forensic team discovers in Overby's basement an area of the soil that looks soft, as if it's been recently dug up.
The earth is soft in there, which is different to what you'd see in a lot of houses this age, where it's hard packed. It was covered with a sheet of plastic, and it was actually construction type plastic that would be used as a vapor barrier. And there was very little dust on top of this plastic. And there was a bunch of household components, like small appliances, stacked on top of this plastic, and none of them had dust on them. And the forensic unit thought that this was odd. I thought this was odd. I said, okay, let's try and find out what's under this plastic. So they meticulously moved all the components that were on top, cut back the plastic, and took it away. I arranged for a cadaver dog to come and to assist in the search of the basement.
Investigators suspect that the earth may be tampered with because a body might be buried there. But the cadaver dog won't be able to assist until the following day. In the meantime, they'll either have to charge Overby with a crime or be forced to let him go.
It was a judgment call and a decision that I made that I need to get this guy off the street. I don't know if this girl is around. I don't know if he's going to interfere with witnesses that we don't know about yet. I don't know what he's going to do or what he's capable of. So the safest place for him right now is locked up.
O'Donovan makes the call to use the testimony of Overby's ex-girlfriend against him.
Once we found out about the domestic violence, I authorized my investigators who were interviewing him to charge him, arrest and charge him with the domestic violence incident.
Overby is taken to a pre-trial detention center to be held.
The next day, the cadaver dog is brought in to search the house.
Cadaver dog didn't find anything in the basement. There was no reaction whatsoever. I'm still not satisfied, and we arranged for ground-penetrating radar to come.
The radar arrives, and the team goes to work.
So we run the ground-penetrating radar, and there's definitely some anomalies under the ground. So we're thinking, oh my goodness, what could this be? Like, it could be anything, because the radar doesn't tell us. It just tells us that there's an anomaly. Got nothing left to do except dig. These guys never questioned it. Like, they said, okay, well, there's only one where we're going to find out what the anomaly is, and that is to dig it. And we'll have to dig it out. And they just picked up these short little shovels, and they're on their hands and knees digging through this clay. Winnipeg clay is hard. Like, it can be like concrete. And you can't swing a shovel, you can't swing a pickaxe. You literally have to pick away at it, like, inch by inch. And they're doing this because there's a victim. We need to find this victim.
Investigators dig down 4 feet into the earth and come up empty-handed. There is no body.
There isn't a body in the basement, but there are signs that lead detectives to believe that a crime was committed there. The samples of blood collected will tell the full story.
We've got the presence of human blood in the basement. We've got a massive sign of a cleanup in the basement. Is this Christine Wood's blood? We don't know that for certain because her DNA is not on file. Christine is just an ordinary girl. There's no reason for us to have her DNA. I assigned the missing persons unit to get hold of her family and to get her parents' DNA. We'll do a familial match.
To request DNA from Christine's parents is a harrowing thing.
This is upsetting. You know, I mean, now they know that we know something. We can't really tell them what we're doing because we don't do that. We don't share too much early on in the investigation. Even though we're months into it, it's still early in the homicide investigation.
All these months, they've held on to the hope that their daughter may be alive. But the Woods know what this means. In spite of their fears that the worst thing imaginable may have happened, the Woods want to know the truth about their daughter. They provide DNA samples to see if the blood found in Overby's basement is Christine's. For now, both Christine's parents and investigators will have to wait to see what the results tell them. O'Donovan has arranged to have the blood samples from Overby's basement tested against the DNA samples provided by Christine's parents. Unfortunately, however, there are a limited number of labs in Canada that do this kind of testing.
It's not CSI TV stuff where they can have it in half an hour. Here, it takes a lot longer. In real life, things take a while.
But given the nature of the case and the ongoing search for Christine, the lab promises a remarkable 7-day turnaround for the results. In the meantime, O'Donovan is concerned that the charges against Overby for domestic abuse aren't going to stick and that he'll be released. O'Donovan talks with the prosecutor, who doesn't think the judge will oppose Overby's bail. O'Donovan's fears come to pass. The domestic abuse charges against Overby don't stick, and he is released from the pre-trial detention center.
So this is between a week or 10 days I'm waiting for the DNA and him getting released on the domestic violence charges. So I authorize surveillance on him 24/7. And that's a huge undertaking. It means that we have to have undercover people follow him around, follow his every move for 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and see where he goes. I am hoping that he's going to panic and go back and check on the body.
Undercover detectives keep a 24-hour-a-day watch on Overby. After a couple of days of surveying him, they follow him by car as he leaves his house.
This is odd. It's a dead-end street. He drives in and he parks at this pond. And he's parked there for 20 minutes. The surveillance unit are watching him. And it's just strange. What is he doing there? And of course, I'm thinking, why is he here? What's he looking at? This pond is still frozen. Like, it's still early April. We keep looking at it, keep thinking, maybe she is, maybe she is. He goes to that pond twice, 2 nights, not 2 nights in a row, but 2 nights within a few days of each other. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it is Christine in the pond.
Poshmark is the perfect side hustle. There's so much I can sell. Bags, clothes, and even electronics. It's so easy. I can list in 60 seconds or less. I can't imagine a better side hustle.
Strapless bras never fit small trusted women. Meet the bra that you can count on by Pepper, the bra company for AA to B cups. The MVP strapless bra has boob-hugging lift with no cup gaps.
You need to try Pepper bras.
Go to wearpepper.com.
Drive Time has a big announcement. An even easier way to buy a car. You make the deal yourself.
I made the deal myself.
It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker!
Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
It's our biggest sale of the year. Shop all your favorite classics, like our super comfy waffle collection and our best-selling cold weather leggings at the best prices ever. From extra warm polar fleece jackets and our famous go-to sweats, we have what you need to stay warm all winter long. Go to Fabletics.com to get 70% off every single thing.
At Consumer Cellular, we pride ourselves on giving you fast, reliable nationwide coverage at up to half the cost of the leading carriers. But don't worry,